The new hire. It was a crisp Monday morning in downtown Chicago. The towering glass building of Wexley & Co. shimmered in the sun, reflecting the hustle of the city. Inside, the office buzzed with chatter and caffeine-fueled urgency. Wexley & Co. was a top-tier marketing firm known for its aggressive strategies and high-pressure environment. Employees here were sharks, young, ambitious, and always out to impress. Among the usual crowd of tailored suits and glossy shoes shuffled a man in gray overalls, pushing a janitorial cart. His name tag read Joe. He had a salt and pepper beard, a slight hunch, and moved with a slow but deliberate pace. The staff barely noticed him. To them, he was just the janitor, the invisible man who cleaned up after their late-night brainstorming sessions. The interns laughed as Joe walked by, whispering loud enough for him to hear. "Wonder how long he's been scrubbing floors, poor guy. Probably couldn't he do anything else?" Joe didn't react. He kept his eyes low and continued wiping down the glass conference room table. He noticed everything: who came in late, who took credit for someone else's work, and who treated others like garbage. That morning, the company was buzzing about a new acquisition deal. The partners were expecting an anonymous buyer who had shown interest in purchasing a majority stake in Wexley & Co. Nobody knew who the buyer was. It was all speculation. The bullying begins. Joe took his lunch in the basement break room away from the sneers and whispers. But even there, he wasn't safe. 3 junior executives, Travis, Kelsey, and Brent, came downstairs laughing. Travis was loud, obnoxious, and always trying to impress Kelsey, who led the company's digital media team. Brent was the follower type, never having an original thought but always eager to pile on. "Look who's here," Travis snickered. "Didn't he know the rats ate lunch too?" Joe looked up and offered a polite smile. "Just finishing up, sir. I'll be out of your way." "Nah, stay," Brent chimed in. "Tell us, old man, ever think of doing something more with your life, or is this it for you, mopping floors and microwaving soup?" Kelsey giggled, but there was an edge in her laugh. Joe noticed. He simply stood, collected his things, and left quietly. Later that week, Joe found gum stuck to his locker, his cart mysteriously missing, and his mop drenched in toilet water. No one admitted anything, but he heard them laughing in the hallways. The bullying wasn't just personal, it was cruel. He took it all silently, never reacting, never complaining. But he was always watching. Behind the curtain. What the bullies didn't know was that Joe had cameras, not the security ones, but tiny body cams he wore discreetly, hidden in the pen on his shirt pocket. He had recorded everything: the mockery, the insults, even the sabotage. You see, Joe wasn't just a janitor. Joe Caldwell had built and sold 2 tech companies in the late 90s. He had walked away from Silicon Valley with millions in stocks and patents. But after a health scare and the sudden death of his wife, he had stepped back from the limelight. In the last 5 years, Joe had been quietly investing in distressed companies, turning them around from the inside out. His method was unique. He'd take a low-level role, learn the culture, see the rot, and rebuild from the ground up. This time, Wexley & Co. was the target. He had already secured a 52% stake through shell corporations. The purchase was complete. In a week, he would be introduced as the new majority owner. The meeting. The executive team was called into a mandatory meeting. Travis and Kelsey rolled their eyes as they filed in. "Another rah-rah speech about synergy," Travis muttered. The conference room was full when the CEO, David Lorne, entered, followed by a suited man with gray at his temples and piercing eyes. David tapped the mic. "Team, I'd like to introduce you to our new majority shareholder. Meet Mr. Joseph Caldwell. Gasps echoed in the room. Travis leaned forward. Wait. That's the janitor, Kelsey whispered. Joe stood, smoothing his navy blazer. Not quite. For the past few months, I've been observing, quietly. And let me tell you, I've seen everything. He looked directly at the bullies. Their faces paled. Some of you have been incredible, dedicated, kind, and full of potential. Others, not so much. The reckoning. That afternoon, HR summoned Travis, Kelsey, and Brent. The evidence was laid out. Videos. Audio. Even witness statements. There was no escaping it. This is a violation of company ethics and anti-harassment policies, the HR head said. All three were terminated immediately. No severance. No recommendations. As they packed up their desks, Joe stood by the elevator. Treat people with kindness, he said simply. You never know who they are. Scene 6, Restructuring begins. Joe rolled out changes immediately. Toxic managers were replaced. A new mentorship program was started. Janitorial and support staff were given bonuses and included in company meetings. He introduced flexible hours, mental health resources, and raised entry-level salaries. The culture at Wexley & Co. began to change. People smiled more. Collaboration improved. Creativity flowed. Viral sensation. A junior employee anonymously posted the story on Reddit. Our janitor was secretly the new CEO and fired all the bullies. The post went viral. Major news outlets picked it up. Joe declined interviews but allowed the company to use the story for a recruitment campaign. Applications flooded in. Wexley & Co. became a symbol of workplace justice and redemption. Scene 8, The New Legacy. Joe didn't just want to run a company. He wanted to leave a legacy. He partnered with local schools to offer internships. Created a scholarship fund in his late wife's name. And launched a side venture mentoring ex-cons in tech skills. He often walked the halls, talking to employees not as the CEO, but as Joe. An unexpected visitor. One afternoon, Kelsey returned not to beg for her job, but to apologize. I was young, arrogant, she said. I've learned. I'm working with a non-profit now. Thank you for the lesson. Joe smiled. Growth starts with humility. Keep going. On his last day before retirement, Joe stood in the same break room where he had once been mocked. But now, it was filled with flowers, notes, and employees from every department thanking him. He raised a cup of coffee. Never judge someone by the job they do. Judge them by how they treat others. The room erupted in applause. As he walked out, the new CEO, a young woman he had mentored, took his place. Joe looked back once, smiled, and disappeared into the Chicago morning, knowing his story had come full circle.